There is a crop that sustained an entire civilization for over 1,000 years without a single import. It fed 500,000 people on isolated islands in the middle of the Pacific. It required no fertilizer, no pesticides, no machinery. Just water, mud, and knowledge passed down through generations. Then, in 1848, everything changed. Not because the crop failed, because sugar was worth more than survival, and what feeds people without profit must be destroyed. This is the story of kalo, the taro that fed Hawaii for a millennium and was nearly erased in a single generation. Welcome to Rooted Secrets. The archive opens in the Hawaiian Islands, sometime between 400 and 800 CE. Polynesian voyagers arrive after crossing 3,000 miles of open ocean. In their canoes, carefully protected, are 24 plants. Among them is kalo, Colocasia esculenta, taro. The Hawaiians told a story. In the beginning, Sky Father Waka and Earth Mother Papa had a stillborn child. They buried him. From his body grew the first kalo plant. They named him Hāloa. Their second child, also named Hāloa, was the first Hawaiian. Elder brother feeds younger brother. The plant is not just food. It is ancestor. It is family. The plant grew in loe, flooded terraces carved into valleys. Stone walls held water brought from mountain streams through auwai, irrigation channels engineered to flow by gravity alone. Some systems were 10 miles long, feeding hundreds of fields without a single pump. There were over 300 varieties, each adapted to specific valleys, specific altitudes, specific rainfall. One loe produced 10 to 15 tons per acre per year, more calories than rice, more protein than potatoes. One valley fed 1,000 people. When Captain Cook arrived in 1778, he estimated the Hawaiian population at 300,000. Some scholars say 800,000. An island civilization with no metal, no wheels, sustaining a population density rivaling Europe. The secret was kalo. 70 to 80% of the diet, pounded into poi, a purple paste that fermented naturally. Fresh poi was sweet. 3-day poi was sharp and prized. Babies were weaned on it. Warriors ate it before battle. The nutrition was perfect. Poi is 98% digestible, the most digestible starch on Earth. 2.5 grams of protein per 100 grams, 50% more than rice. And the fermentation created probiotics before anyone knew what probiotics were. Hawaiians were among the tallest, strongest people Europeans had ever encountered. Cook's crew wrote that Hawaiian men could swim miles in open ocean, dive 100 feet, and carry loads that broke English sailors. This was not genetics. This was kalo. In 1848, everything changed. The Mahele, the Great Division. For the first time in Hawaiian history, land could be owned. Before this, land belonged to chiefs, held in trust for the people. You could farm, fish, gather, but you could not sell. Foreign advisors whispered to King Kamehameha III, "Private property brings prosperity. Hawaii must modernize or be colonized." The Mahele divided land between the king, the chiefs, and the government. Commoners could file claims, but there were rules. Written documentation, surveys, fees, legal processes in English by men who had never planted taro. Most Hawaiians never filed. They did not understand the system. By 1850, 2/3 of Hawaii's land had been claimed by foreigners. The commoners who had fed the islands for 1,000 years were left with 1%. Then came sugar. By 1870, there were 63 plantations. Sugar needed land. Flat land, wet land, the same valleys perfect for taro. In 1880, the water law changed. Stream water could be diverted for commercial use, for profit. The owai that fed loe for centuries were rerouted. Water that flowed to taro terraces was sent to sugar fields. The loe dried. Mud turned to dust. Families who had farmed the same land for 20 generations watched their fields die. Hawaiians protested. They wrote petitions, they testified. But sugar was worth $30 million a year by 1900. Taro was worth nothing to the men who made laws. Sugar grew where kalo once fed a nation. Then disease came. Western contact brought measles, smallpox, influenza, 800,000 in 1778, 40,000 by 1900, 95% mortality. Villages vanished, the knowledge holders died. By 1920, Hawaii imported 70% of its food. Rice from California, wheat from the mainland, canned meat. The islands that once fed themselves were dependent on ships. The territory promoted Western food as modern, progressive, clean. Poi became associated with poverty. Hawaiian children were punished for speaking Hawaiian in school. They were taught to be ashamed of their food, their language, their ancestors. By 1940, 75% of Hawaii's taro came from imports, from Fiji, from Samoa. The islands that invented lo'i agriculture were buying taro grown somewhere else. The absurdity was complete. In 1973, University of Hawaii researchers analyzed poi. 98.8% digestible, higher than any grain, any tuber on record. The protein was 50% more than rice, and the amino acid profile was nearly complete. The fermentation added more. Lactic acid bacteria colonized poi within hours, producing B vitamins, lowering pH, blocking pathogens. In 1987, doctors treated infants with severe allergies. Dairy, soy, and formula caused reactions. They tried poi. Within a week, symptoms vanished. Poi was hypoallergenic. Elders with diabetes returned to poi. Their blood sugar stabilized, their inflammation reduced. What Hawaiians knew for 1,000 years, science confirmed in a decade. Kalo was not just food, it was medicine. In 1974, the Hawaiian Renaissance began. Young Hawaiians reclaimed their culture. They learned language from kupuna. They sailed voyaging canoes, and they returned to the lo'i. Families cleared abandoned taro patches. They rebuilt walls by hand. By 2000, there were 500 acres of taro in Hawaii. But in 1848, there were 35,000 acres. 98% was still gone. Water rights were still controlled by sugar's descendants. Even though sugar collapsed in the 1990s, diversions remained. Water flowed to resorts, golf courses, developments. Farmers watched their lo'i dry while sprinklers watered resort lawns. And taro cannot be mechanized. Harvest requires wading into water, cutting by hand. Machines sink. Poi spoils in 3 days. Grocery stores demand 30-day shelf lives. What makes poi powerful makes it unprofitable. Crops that enable sovereignty are always erased, not because they fail, because they succeed without chains. Climate change is coming. Hurricanes intensifying, droughts lasting months. But kalo was born in chaos. It survived droughts that collapsed other Polynesian societies. It grows in floods where corn drowns. It thrives in conditions that kill modern agriculture. When the ships stop coming, when supply chains collapse, kalo will be ready. The knowledge lives in the kupuna, in every restored lo'i, in every child taught to pound poi. We did not lose kalo. We just stopped listening. Elder brother still feeds younger brother. The relationship never ended. We just looked away. If this secret opened something for you, subscribe to Rooted Secrets and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next secret opens soon.